So I told you guys the other day I had a conversation with my mom that I thought was really interesting. Now, my mom is the epitome of the normie American swing voter. She's voted for many Republicans in her life, specifically before I was born and when I was like a kid. She's from a very Republican family, but then as she got older, she flipped more to the Democrat. She voted for Obama, and she's just interesting as a barometer of like normie America. And one of the things she said to me the other day was like, okay, so Congress is like rushing to get back in session for what? To do a $100 billion aid package where it goes to Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan? Like, this is what's such an emergency. We got to rush this out, and it's got to go to mainly Israel and Ukraine. And from her perspective, she's like, what about, like, we got, like, homeless people here. Why is that not an emergency? And this is a thought that people have had this thought across the political spectrum. Now, the difference is Republicans make this argument, but it's like, hold on. If somebody actually proposed a universal housing bill to look after homeless people, you'd be against it. So don't, like, it's a bogus argument when the right invokes it. But I think the left is sincere when they say it. And my mom, who's the classic, like, American swing voter, I think she's sincere when she says that, right? And so that really stuck with me. And then I look at this news that just came out. So this is in News Nation. Pentagon pursues nuclear bomb 24 times the power of one dropped during World War II. Department of Defense announces pursuit of B-61 gravity bomb pending Congress approval. The bomb is 24 times more powerful than the one dropped on Japan during World War II. Military leaders stress these weapons protect Americans from global threats. Let's be clear. If this thing is ever used, nobody's being protected. It is the destruction of organized life on Earth. Let's be clear about that, okay? A couple things about this. Number one, the timing of when they say this. Why are they saying this now? Why are they bringing this up now? I think it's kind of intuitive. I think people understand why they're bringing this up now. Because we're on the brink of World War III. Because Israel is currently wiping out civilian populations in Gaza relentlessly. The bodies are piling up. The world is horrified watching it. The U.S. has silently agreed to it and is continuing to give Israel weapons as they go about it, as they finger wag and say, please follow the laws of war, even though we'll do nothing when you continue not to do that. So that's happening. Yemen has now jumped in and declared war on Israel. Hezbollah is, of course, on the border with Israel, and there's been tit-for-tat fighting between the IDF and Hezbollah, but they could decide to enter, and that would be horrendous because Hezbollah is the most powerful non-state military in the world, non-state militia in the world. Iran, of course, is on the brink as well. So you got all these things going on. We're this close. And so the U.S. is what? This is the equivalent of, your buddies in a bar fight and you stand there and puff out your chest and show that you're packing a gun on your hip or something, right? Like, that's what this is. Hey, we're gonna work on a nuke 24 times more powerful than the one that dropped. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. So, look, the thing that drives me crazy is apparently we haven't evolved at all since the war on terror era. Remember, after 9/11, the hysteria the country was in, it was so bloodthirsty and vengeful, and all they wanted was revenge and retaliation and retribution against literally anybody. We didn't care if it was the right people, just go bomb somebody, was the feeling in the country. That was the feeling. And that's what they did. They invaded Afghanistan at the time, then in 2003 they invaded Iraq, based on false notions. And then it dragged on. I mean, we just pulled out of Afghanistan. We're still in Iraq. We're still in the Middle East in general, backing Israel to the hilt. And now they're discussing, this is what we need to spend our money on at the moment too, right? This is the urgent need of the time. Let's create a nuke that, if it's ever used, will lead to the immediate destruction of all people on Earth. Because in the modern era, I don't know if you know this, if somebody nukes somebody else, others have nukes as well, and they can retaliate immediately. They bring this up like it's not totally psychotic. I don't even know what else to say about this other than look at our priorities. In the midst of what's going on, look at our priorities. Let's build an even bigger bomb. Thanks, guys. Thanks. The extent to which they don't give a shit about, like, domestic things, right? I mean, I've talked about this before, but if I were to ever run for office, one of the main things I would run on is I want to create the number one infrastructure in the world, and I want to make it not even close. I want to have state-of-the-art high-speed rail and roads and bridges and just beautiful, clean public spaces, and basically do a newer version of the New Deal where we update all the old infrastructure, update all of it, rebuild the airports, rebuild everything you could think of, and make us #1 in the world by a mile. That would be a country that was serious about looking out for its people and making everybody happy. That's what they would do. Instead, we're egging on Israel as they massacre civilians and then puffing our chest out and bragging about we'll create a nuclear bomb 24 times more powerful. Warmongery insanity is what we're looking at here. And is it really even necessary? Was that bomb not big enough? The one dropped on Hiroshima and the one dropped on Nagasaki. Were those not big enough? We really need one 24 times more powerful? The saber rattling, man. And look, also you could argue with Russia and Ukraine, this has something to do with that too. It's just, more threats in the world. And we're just like, we're at the desperation phase where it's like trying to convince and persuade isn't working anymore. So we're like, hey man, look, we're still the most powerful in the world by a mile and we'll fuck you up. And we got this giant bomb if you guys step out of line. That also seems to be the gist of what's happening here. Good times, man. Real good stuff. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.